Hello and welcome to Sim.bc, where today I will be delivering a few surprises. Yeah, let's see if you can spot the odd one out. I am joining you as per usual at 1:05. First surprise, and they're getting bigger. Second of all, I would like to semi-ish say sorry for yesterday. I know we're progressing, but I made a bit of a little song yesterday that didn't turn out as great as it felt, but it was still better than I thought it would be. So you know, it's kind of like a semi thumbs up for that. And the third one is that I'm joining you with a cup of tea. Now that's not a joke or in and within itself, but it's actually a nice cup of red and not a cup of green. Does that mean that I mean, oh, stop caring about the environment, green is no longer the thing, autumn is the best? No, obviously not. It's just that, you know, sometimes you need to spice and change things up. Still too hot though, you know, I'm learning, I'm adapting, I'm overcoming. Now, today, mates, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to just introduce a new topic, because for some of you who might be new to this, every once in a while, right, I like to take up a topic of conversation. But I feel like there are so many important perspectives to be considering for said topic that I need to make it its own individual video in order to fully describe or flesh out that perspective of the topic. And that is why I've come up with sort of project, and today I'm going to introduce you to the latest one as of today, because obviously I'm making the video now, so it's going to be the latest one now, but probably not the latest one, because I have at least one more coming up, right? But without any further ado, mates, the introductory video today, yes, gesticulation, is going to be about imagination and the workplace. Yes, that is what you and me is gonna be dabbling in and go all about. You know, we're gonna go knees deep into this. Why? Well, because it's important to keep in mind that imagination has a lot to do with your creativity, how you go about solving problems, how you identify new perspective, and how then do we keep this creativity alive? How do we actually utilize creativity? How is creativity applied in the workplace? And these are just a few of the things that I would like to tackle over the upcoming days. Now, usually in one of these videos, I just give a general gist of what I think that creativity and imagination is all about, because that tends to shift, let's just say that, put it like that, right? To say the least, it tends to shift from the first very day I do it to the second day, or rather to the last day, right? When I've done all of my research for each individual video. Now, imagination, from where I'm standing right now, I'm categorizing it as sort of the child within, right? The way to bring out your childish emotions, your childish way of thinking, this very naive but yet again explorative process of how you actually, what you would say, mapping out an event, right? So if there is an event that you should either plan or execute, if you have some form of imagination, you can be finding new and creative ways, often creative, right, of dealing with these different situations thrown at you, or to plan these situations which you will be throwing at others, which will be the event. I'm not meaning that you should throw anything in an imaginary way against anyone else, but you probably get the gist of what I'm saying. Now, to establish some things before we move into it. Now, imagination, yet again, I will be reading into this, but imagination stems from you, and imagination will probably differ amongst various people, right? And what we deem to be imagination, what we deem to be imaginative, is not always creative, right? Creative is going to be the perception of how other people is looking at your specific imagination. It's sort of self-implied, right? But still, imagination applied does not always mean that it's going to be something that is creatively good, you know? The entire idea of bringing change for change's sake, not necessarily bringing change for the sake of making anything any better. So, when we're going to look at imagination, we might end up in a situation where I'm suggesting change for change's sake, just because I've been reading into imagination. However, what I want you to take out from these videos, the little video product that we're gonna do at least over the coming week, is that you should look at it as if, what are the points that I can take out, apply to my own situation, and then work with that in order to find a solution to a problem that I probably maybe didn't even know existed. And if there is a problem that you know exists, that you're trying to deal with, how can I, in an imaginative way, apply a creative way and express myself so that I can actually solve this solution, you know, or solve this problem, come up with a solution rather. These are sort of the things that we're gonna be dabbling in, yeah? That we're gonna be dabbling with. And it's a rather close to heart, I'd say, point of view that I would like to take up, or a discussion that I would like to raise, because I've lived in a, you know, just to establish some context before going into this, I've lived my life with parents and friends and friends' parents is what I'm trying to say, the parents of me mates, who have told me that it's so important to keep your imagination. Often you will hear this in, you know, in conjunction with that being like, oh, should we play together? Would you like to play something? And I'm talking when I was like 5 to 8 years old, something like that, before I realized and discovered video games when we were out playing in the real world. I know, to some of you it would still sound ludicrous. But then most people's parents just said, oh, you know, I don't have the imagination to play with you. Now, in hindsight though, I kind of sort of realized that that might have just been a very clever way of saying, I'm tired, go and play on your own, I don't want to play with you right now. But still, it kept, or rather it raised this curiosity in myself that imagination might be something that dwindles on with age, or rather it doesn't dwindle on with age, rather it fades with age. So I've lived my entire life trying to come up with creative solutions, looking at change for change's sake in some cases, but trying to find changes that actually make sense, that creative changes that actually furthers the efficiency and the productivity of a team, of a certain situation, solves a problem, and so on and so forth. So since I've been growing up with this mindset, it's something that is very close to heart. That imagination and this sort of creative thinking of yours shouldn't fade as you grow older, even though I have been told a plethora of times that that is the case. However, if that is sincere or not, we're going to discover, and deep dive into. Now, just to sort of introduce the first sort of video we're going to take on tomorrow, is probably going to be along the lines of career and imagination. And without spoiling it too much, right, you can probably click away to that right now if you're not watching it at launch, which I doubt, because let's just say it like this, that the community around this channel, around Sim.pc, is limited to say the least, right? But if you're watching this in the future, just click along and you will get it. Now, the career in its entirety is based on that you're actually going to make a sort of trajectory, right? Because that's what your career is all about. You would like to increase the steps. You would like to walk upwards all of the time. You don't want to walk backwards. However, you shouldn't be afraid to do so if it is a good thing in your career at that point in time, or just mentally, or something else comes along, you shouldn't be afraid to walk back either, because no one can say that you're finished with your career until you say you're finished. But using imagination, you can find creative ways to actually further this career building, and that is also why it's important that you still have this imagination as you get older. As I said, it's something that we will be talking about tomorrow. So, I think that I've gotten all the points across that I wanted to for a kind of sort of introductory video to this little project, even though I spent a fair amount of time in the beginning talking about the sort of tea I'm drinking, which to some degree is of a varied interest to many of people I've talked to. But, you know, tea time with Sim, it's a thing, it's gonna happen, right? At some point in time it's gonna happen. And I thought I learned. Anyway, mates, I would like to leave you with this though, talking about imagination, creativity, expressing yourself, finding a new solution. A quote from Ozzy Osbourne, he said, "Of all the things that I've lost in my life, I missed my mind the most." Which I think is hilarious, right? Because missing his mind is creative in itself. Now, that's everything for today, mates. I'm joining you tomorrow, as I said, with career building. Woohoo! It's gonna be the best thing ever. Or rather, not career building, but looking at a career with imagination in mind. Have a nice one, mates. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.